she has this quote that I love. The quote you might be able to see on your screen is, "Writing and reading decrease our sense of isolation. They deepen and widen and expand our sense of life. They feed the soul," which I think is a great quote. So my story is, I guess, say developed, or my symptoms of BPD started developing when I was about 15. Can you hear me? Is everything? Okay. So I started struggling with symptoms of borderline personality disorder when I was 15. And that was actually, interestingly enough, the exact same year that I started writing for the first time. You know, I was really struggling with my, sense of self, who I was, identity, self-worth, also dealing with some past trauma, and, really struggling with my, emotional regulation. That's when that became really, really difficult. And, when I was in high school, and I was taking an English class, and I was doing really poorly in school. Actually, I was about to be asked to leave that school, and I eventually was. I had my English teacher ask us all to write poems, and I wrote a poem, and my English teacher pulled me aside and said, I know that you're having a hard time and that you have struggle. She didn't know what BPD was, but she said, whatever it is that's going on in your life, you need to know that you're a really, really strong writer. Like, this is, not poetry we would expect from a 15-year-old. And so, that meant so much to me, because at that time, I really didn't think I was good at anything. I really kind of thought that, that I had no career, no possible aspiration. And so to hear that from somebody really meant a lot. And, it really encouraged me to continue to write throughout my recovery. And I have done that. So, I essentially started writing when the symptoms for BPD began. And throughout my treatment, the ups and downs of having BPD, which I think, we can all relate to, I continued to write, whether it was poetry, whether it was memoir, fiction, stories that were somehow based on my own life. Something that I found incredibly cathartic, and also something that I found, I was really good at capturing, or understanding how other people think, and how, people operate in interpersonal relationships, maybe not my own, but other people's, which is really interesting. So for me, I kept writing throughout my recovery. And when I was 22, I had my first story published. A year later, I had my first book of poems published. Then I published a children's book 2 years later, and then my first full novel when I was 26. And that's about the time that I started to really finally recover from BPD. So I feel like my writing life really parallels my my course with borderline personality disorder, including treatment. So for me, I feel like I've lived and I've seen how effective writing can be when it comes to, dealing with the experience of having borderline personality disorder, the experience of, having such, struggling with your feelings of self-worth, or knowing who you are, the feelings sometimes of emptiness, the difficulty with regulating your emotions. There's something so cathartic about being able to just write that down, and also being able to create something, when once, say you're going through something and you sit down and you start writing, you have something complete and tangible once it's all over. You know, once you've come out of that space, you have something to kind of, something physical to sort of show for it. So for me, writing's been a huge part of my recovery. And, you know, I kind of feel like we did this workshop a couple months ago, and there are also a number of writers who have BPD. And so I'm really interested in this connection between BPD and creativity, because I feel like so many people with borderline personality disorder are such, you know, such interesting artists and writers. So yeah, I just kind of want to share my love of writing with you all, and you know, inspire maybe some new or some, you know, writing. Maybe some of you guys aren't emerging writers. Maybe, you know, some of you guys have also been writing for years and years and years. And so just, yeah, encourage that, and have, you know, have this be a place where we, you know, we do that, and we discuss recovery and writing's role in recovery.